Hey, hello everyone. So instead of music, it's going to be a talking video. Remember back in the day before I got into improvisational guitar and live feeds, almost all of my videos were just of me talking, usually from a philosophical point of view about whatever context or topic matter. So this one is going to be a pretty simple one. I wanted to share with you and chime in, comment along the way. I'd really love to hear what you think. But I wanted to share with you something that I think people generally already know but need to be reminded of, and maybe from a different perspective you haven't heard from before. It might help you digest what you already knew just a little bit more, who knows. And that is, you know how it's normal to deal with sadness and happiness, and the sadness obviously just doesn't feel as good as the happiness, but sometimes the value of the sadness gives that contrast to make the happiness feel more happy, so to speak, because we have something to measure it against. But I think one of the goals, at least that I have, and maybe most of us have, is to have more happiness and sadness, more good days and bad days, that kind of thing, because you're never going to get rid of the sadness altogether. But there's going to be phases where the sad might dominate or the happiness might dominate, but overall the happiness to dominate. So that's where, hey Harlan, very nice to see you. Thanks for chiming in. So I think, as for myself, please chime in. I'd love to hear what you all think. But when I'm going through those phases of just intense sadness, or just sadness in general, it helps me to remember what it is that I like doing, like physical things, not just thoughts. It starts with thoughts, but it cannot end with thoughts. But things that I physically like doing that puts me into a better space, because to an extent, motion equals emotion. Sometimes all we have to do to change our state of mind from sadness to happiness is change how we are moving our bodies and interacting with the world in which we live on. So for me, for example, at this moment anyway, I really love dancing. That's motion, right? That can change an emotion instantly. And I really love music. So playing something, that's motion, and we're also dealing with audio, and gosh, you could just be motionless, actually. So that's kind of a bad example, because for that one you could be motionless. But playing an instrument is you're listening to something at the same time you're physical as well. So that's pretty special, if you ask me. So dancing, music, and then fitness. Fitness is obviously extremely physical. And there's other chemical reactions that happen in the brain too when you're dealing with fitness, and oxygen flow to the brain and so forth, and serotonin and dopamine. So that can certainly change somebody's mood as well. Hello, Paulette. Hello, Jackie. Hello, everyone. Glad that you're here. Those blue lights cool. So those are my three main things. There's other stuff that I do too, but I find that if I engage in those three things, I practice those three things, it keeps me further away from sadness and just deeper into happiness. It doesn't work all the time, but a good majority of the time it does. And quite honestly, if I'm just really sad and nothing's snapping me out of it, the best thing for me, I guess, would be the opposite of motion. Just make it an early night, go to bed, wake up, and typically that has me feeling better. So that's something that works out a lot as well. So drop your comments. Tell me what you think about that. What works for you? If it's actually doing physical things that helps, or something non-physical, if that helps. I think if you can combine physical and non-physical, that's the best. Even the physical, it's going to start with a thought that leads to a physical versus a thought ending with a thought, which I don't think is usually very helpful. But a thought that leads to something physical, the way that you change the movement of your body, how you move and interact with the planet, or maybe with other people. Speaking of other people, friend therapy, it's free. You don't have to pay somebody money to listen to you or whatever. So of course that depends on having really good friends that make you just feel amazing, and hopefully that goes back and forth, mutual reciprocity there. You know what else really helps out a lot with sadness is eating a gut healthy diet. A lot of people don't know this, but most of our serotonin and dopamine production, the feel-good hormones, most of that is actually secreted from the gut, not the brain. So a lot of scientists are starting to call the gut the second brain, or the second mind, for that reason. Also, 80% of our immune system is in our gut, so sometimes just switching to a gut healthy diet can do a lot to boost our mood. So, and that is one reason why my plant-based whole food diet actually focuses mostly on gut health. It's pretty cool. All right. Oops. I'm so sorry. All right, let me just hold this up with my hand now. Actually, I don't need to. All right. I'm balancing this. Whoops. Where'd my comments go? There we are. Okay, I'm actually balancing this with this cayenne pepper here. I lost it for a moment because I wanted to scroll and look at the comments. Okay, so let's see here. Gonna get caught up. Not sure if you're into astrology, but how is Pluto return affect? I have no idea, Harlan. I didn't know Pluto What do you mean Pluto return? What is that? I know that it's no longer a planet. Are they dubbing it a planet again? I have no idea. I don't know. Let's see here. Hello, Jackie. Hello, Christine. Very nice to see you. Scrolling to read the comments. Those blue lights reflect your aura, if that makes sense. Thank you. I actually thought the same thing. I caught those blue lights by accident when I was setting this up, and I'm like, those blue lights are kind of cool, so I'll just include that in this. So thank you, Harlan. I like listening to your voice, always so calming. Thank you, Jackie. That's another thing people can use to maybe feel better if they're feeling sad. Sometimes just the sound of somebody's voice, whether it's somebody you're talking to live on the phone or in person. In person would be best because then you get the facial expressions as well as the vocal expressions. Or maybe just listening to, I don't know, guided meditation and hearing somebody's voice. Or a live feed on Facebook, like right now. Not bad, right? So thank you, Jackie. That was really nice of you. Susan, my friend, it was so cool to visit with you recently. All those things you mentioned are awesome, but for me, sometimes no matter how much I do what I love, the sadness is still lurking in my mind right now, being around. Good friends is always good therapy. Oops, trying to get it to expand. Okay, that was all you wrote. Yeah, Susan, totally. And I touched on that as well. Sometimes nothing seems to work, man. And for me, when nothing seems to work, I just go to bed early. Make it an early night and hopefully wake up feeling anew. That generally works for me. Like listening to your voice, always so calming. Ah, cool. Thank you, Harlan. Another, wow, it's a very compassionate tone. Hey, wow, you guys are really saying some really nice things to me. So I guess that's another thing that can make a person feel good is just these really amazing, genuine, authentic, lovely things that we say to each other, right? Yeah, that goes a long way too. Hello, Kathy, Lindsay. Very nice to see everyone. So that's about all that I have for you. Just wanted to share those things. And as I was sharing what I intended to share, a few more things popped up. So that was kind of cool. And you all brought up some things too, which I thought was the coolest of it all. The interaction, the engagement, because that creates the connection. Speaking of, so maybe I'll end on this note. I think the most important thing for human health, human mental health, emotional health, having more happy times and sad times, all that kind of thing. It's the quality of the connections that we have with other people. It's our relationships. There's nothing more important than that. Money is not stuff, whatever, status, fame, fortune. At the end of the day, it's the relationships, the quality of those connections that we have with other people. And I think that is most likely what drives, if not all sadness, probably almost all of it. It's if somebody we really value, intrinsically, innately really value, and that relationship kind of suffers for whatever reason, that can really bring a person down. Or if there's a love interest that doesn't feel the same. For me, that's like the ultimate thing. If there's a love interest that doesn't feel the same for me, that has always been the worst. That invokes more sadness in me than anything. That's something I've always struggled with, to be honest with you. Wow, I just admitted that to the whole world. I can't believe it. Now all of you know my kryptonite. And it's probably a common piece of kryptonite, I would imagine. Pause for a moment. I was thinking about opening up with something else, but I decided not to. So this other thing I'm not going to. What was Tom going to almost say that he didn't say? I don't know. Sorry to pique your curiosity there. But yeah. That's what it comes down to. Typically, not typically, always the most important thing. We're hardwired for it. It's in our DNA, it's in our brains, the hard wiring of it is the quality of the connections that we have with other people. And if those are suffering, generally that can lead to a lot of detrimental kind of sadness. And if our relationships are great and we just have this aura about ourselves and the people that we're with, and it's felt and permeates our beings with these wonderful, nurturing, loving connections that just make us feel, yeah, this person is awesome, and we're around these kinds of people. It's really hard to be sad then, that's for sure. You can be kind of glowing like in those environments with other people. Harlan says, bless those who won't do love you back. Bless, okay, auto-correction, I know. Bless those who don't love you back. Well, yeah, of course. And sometimes, a person might love you back, but it's not the way that you would like them to love you back. And obviously you've got to accept that. That's like the toughest thing. I mean, it's easy to accept that. It's just hard to digest it. It's like, well, I'll share this with you. In my brain, like the most paradoxical thing that ever happens is when I really like someone, and it just seems so natural that, we ought to be a thing, a couple, a power couple, right? That's how I think of it in terms of we're going to be a power couple because we're so awesome. It's just my level of intense passion whenever I'm interested in somebody, like really interested in somebody. I'm like, it feels natural. We could be a power couple. And then if I make the discovery that, she doesn't feel the same about me, it feels, obviously it's very sad. It's a tough pill to swallow because it sounds so unnatural. It's like, how can the universe create a setup where you like somebody so much and it feels so natural, but then they don't have that mutual connection with you? It's like, it would be one thing if it was infatuation, if it was just lust, if it was something physical or superficial, and there's nothing wrong with those things either, but it would be explainable if the person didn't like you back, like, okay, no big deal. But if you really feel it, like all the depth of your being, that, God, this just feels so right, so natural, and you make the discovery, it's like, oh my God, how is it possible that someone could feel this way about somebody, but they don't return those feelings? And there's nothing wrong with that person. It's just they don't feel it. But it's just something that's extremely hard, at least for me anyway, to digest that, totally accept it. But it's hard to digest. And I've been on both ends of that coin. I've certainly been the one where she felt that way about me, but I didn't about her. And that side of the coin also feels crummy. It's like, I don't want to hurt anybody or someone to be hurt. And I can empathize with that because sometimes I'm on the other side of that coin where I have those deep feelings, but she does not. And that's just a really tough pill to swallow. It just doesn't, I don't know. It almost feels like it's conspiratorial, like the powers that be of the universe did that to me. I know it sounds stupid. I know that it can't possibly be true, but that's sort of what it feels like, just because it feels so unnatural. If I naturally am into somebody, but it's not natural for them to be into me too, where it's, a two-way reciprocal thing. Hopefully I'm doing a good job at explaining what I'm talking about. You'll have to let me know. Or maybe somebody can put it in better words than me, just who knows. It's also very interesting to think about. I've recalled you're a double Cancer, astrologically speaking, Cancer Sun, Cancer Rising. Maybe it's not the right time. Who knows? Yeah, that could be it too, Juanita. Sometimes timing is a thing. I don't know, but if it's right, then does the timing really matter? If it's right no matter what the time. It's another way to look at it. I don't know. Don't have the answers on that one. It's one of those things that makes life interesting, I guess, to navigate through. I don't know. But I'll tell you what, though, this last year in 2021, I met two women for the first time in years where I actually caught feelings, especially the second one of these two that I met. Oh boy, did I start to catch some feelings. And, so it kind of showed me I was capable again. And I really didn't plan on going here with this live feed. Holy cow, this took on a life of its own that I didn't see coming. I feel you. That's why you just stay single and free. Heartache is the worst. Well, okay, wanting to, sure. But anytime there's a possibility, I'm going to go for it. If I catch feelings for somebody, I'm going to give it a shot, see if she's interested. And if she is, then we'll give it a shot. So no matter what, even if it's scary, I'm still going to go for it. I would never deny myself that possibility. The possibility keeps me going, right? Do I see beyond universal time? I'm not even sure what that means, but I'm open to it, Harlan. Good question. Okay, so I think I'll end on that one right there about the two experiences I had, especially that last one, or the most recent one, because I'd like to think there's going to be another. It was something. It's quite it awakened something in me that I want more of, I guess, now. So, gonna end this now. Really appreciate everyone being here, and I love that you can talk about it so openly here. Yes, Susan, indeed. I didn't plan on that. I was just gonna talk about like the initial things the video is gonna be about, and you just keep going in these directions, or I keep going in these directions, and whoa, but yeah, whew. Yeah, experienced it twice, especially that last one. And it had been years, like I said, since I experienced that before. So maybe it kind of let me know that, hey, there's still the possibility out there for me that I really could connect with somebody on that kind of romantic, passionate level where we could be a power couple. So I'm really looking forward to when that might happen again, but maybe where it's more mutual, more long term, that's for sure. Okay, everyone. Thanks for being here, and look forward to reading more comments as this sits out there on internet land now. Have a good night, everybody, and never stop connecting with me. I really appreciate the connections with all of you. Bye for now.